Before creating a multi-action in SAP Analytics Cloud, you first need to create a time series forecasting scenario containing at least one predictive model. What is the reason for this? Multi-actions are meant to orchestrate the execution of existing assets. They aren't meant to create new assets. More specifically, multi-actions aren't meant to create predictive scenarios and predictive models. It's key to validate a predictive model in predictive planning using the modeling reports before you use it productively. Once you've validated the benefits that a predictive model is bringing, you can automate the delivery of predictive forecasts using a multi-action. You probably want to automate your predictive forecast because you want it to be updated on a regular basis, for example, monthly. The ability to consider new data points and shift the forecast horizon accordingly is provided by the until last observation option of the time series forecasting model. If you use the until user-defined date option, then for every run of the multi-action, the same training data will be considered and therefore the same time series forecasting model will be trained. Let's create a multi-action that delivers predictive forecasts into stories. In the main navigation bar, click the multi-actions icon. Follow this menu path. The multi-action designer opens and shows an empty canvas. In the toolbar, follow this menu path to save the multi-action. Save the multi-action in your personal folder and name it Travel and Expenses Forecast. This figure shows the state of the multi-action designer immediately after the multi-action is created. One of the settings of the predictive step is the output version. The output version is the version of the planning model that will receive the predictive forecast. You can select a version explicitly, but you may want to allow users to write the predictive forecast in their own private version. Private versions can't be selected in the multi-action designer. In addition, there may be no version that you can select yet. It's usually a better idea to use a parameter to allow version choice. So let's create a version parameter. In the multi-actions top toolbar, follow this menu path. A parameter list panel opens. In the parameter list panel, click the Create Parameter link. The parameter list panel is replaced by the parameter detail panel. In the ID field, provide a name for your parameter. As it will be used to select the output version, let's call it Output Version. Be sure that parameter type is set to Member and that Single Model Parameter is selected. Click the Model dropdown and click Select Other Model. In the dialog box, select the Travel and Expenses Planning model that contains the quantity you want to forecast. Open the Dimensions dropdown and select the Version dimension. Be sure that cardinality is set to Single. Only one member of the version dimension can be selected, and keep the default for all the other settings. Click Done to validate the creation of the parameter. In the toolbar, follow this menu path to save the multi-action. We're now ready to create a predictive step in our multi-action. In the toolbar, follow this menu path. A node is added to the multi-action canvas, and a Step Details panel is opened with the details of the predictive step. Enter a name for the predictive step in the Step Name field, which, in our example, is Travel Expenses Predictive Forecast. Click the Predictive Scenario dropdown and click Select Other Predictive Scenario. In the dialog box, select the predictive scenario that contains the predictive model you want to automate. For this example, we're using Travel and Expenses Forecast. Click the Predictive Model dropdown and select the time series forecasting model you want to automate. For this example, we're using by country and line of business. The corresponding planning model field is updated, which lets you know the planning model used to train the predictive model. Click the Available Parameters icon next to the Save Forecast to Version field. In the dropdown, select the Output Version field. In the toolbar, save the multi-action. What does the train and forecast value for the predictive action field mean? When a predictive step runs, it will automatically perform a time series forecasting model training operation and a forecast saving operation. The predictive model referenced by the predictive model field will be trained using the settings you defined in predictive planning, and then the resulting predictive forecast will be saved to the version referenced in Save Forecast to Version. This is a simple multi-action. For a real use case, you might want to add a data preparation step before the predictive step and a forecast post-processing step after the predictive step. For instance, you might run a data action before the predictive step to fill future influencers' values and another data action after the predictive step to perform allocation of the predictive forecast to dimensions that weren't selected to define the entities. To learn more about SAP, make sure to subscribe to our channel and enable notifications so you never miss a new video.